Hey y'all, we're back with episode 3. Getting here. It's me, Lavelle Lycan.
It's your boy Jaheim.
And it's your boy Double A in the building. What's good, everybody?
And we're here with the Clutch and Chill podcast. But today we're talking about something real that's going on right now, that's been going on throughout the history, and that must be talked about on this platform because we are all here at Black individual males, and we have something to say about it. So today's topic is on politics, voting, Blackness. So let's get in here. What y'all got for us?
Black Lives Matter. Let's kick it off.
Yes, it does. All right, let me start off with question number 1. Are you voting in November and why?
I would definitely say I am voting. Being that I'm an election year baby, I definitely will be voting. I vote pretty much every year. And I think it's very important because I hate being in those conversations when it's like, oh, well, I didn't like the president this year. I don't like what he's doing. Well, did you vote? You know, I always feel that question is just always directed at Black people, and we don't know how to respond to it because 9 out of 10, we do not vote. And it's only probably like a small percentage of us that do vote. So for me, voting is very important because at the end of the day, you don't want to be that stereotype or that one statistic that's just floating out there. Like basically the one person that has so much to say, but never uses their voice. So I refuse to be in that audience. So I'm
With me, I have played both sides of it. Some forms of it, I had to realize like, okay, like this is important. Some forms I was also like, okay, I really just don't care because it seemed like whatever you do, whatever you put in, it gets deviated. And no matter who, you want it so bad or who has an obvious, choice, it seems like something bad happens, somebody's scamming, something's always happening. So yes, I do feel like I will be. And why? I just feel like things just need to change. And I do feel like that it's so much going on. Like, I hate the fact that has happened in the past where I know I've literally had my heart set on a certain person and it doesn't end up that way. And it's like, okay, well, why did it end up that way? Because this has happened, that's happened. So I'm here for it for this round.
Well, I'm voting in November, of course. The reason being because, again, I don't like who's in office currently, but that's neither here nor there. I did vote last time, but then a part of me felt like the voting system was kind of rigged because of look who we got in office, and I feel like he definitely had, Russia and them to help him get in the election, but that, I'm not sure we want to go deep into that conversation.
But so I guess I do want to jump in there real quick. So of course we all know who is sitting in office right now. Do you feel that and I'm going to say us, I'm not going to, make this so racial, but do you feel that Black people had a say in that? And I mean by not saying anything, that's basically having a say. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of us saw, okay, we have Trump, we have so-and-so, but we're just not going to vote. But now majority of us are upset and we're angry because we were hoping to get what we wanted, but yet we refused to take our butts down to the voting polls.
I was going to say, and that's why I said what I said, because I do feel like I've been on both sides. I've been like, okay, I really don't believe in this, because it seemed like, yeah, everybody wants to, and we're all supposed to come together and vote and do all this. And I feel like, okay, we come together and vote, but at the end of the day, no matter like what you put in, there is that slight possibility that it may not be that result. And hence what happened last time. Like, we all thought landslide, like, oh, this is going to be this person. And it's like, okay, really, did this just happen? Like, are we living in this type of world where this person's going to be our president? Like,
and I think, what's funny about that? Listening to it now, I could be so wrong, but I feel that us as a community, we only move when it's representing or benefiting us. When Barack Obama was coming to the forefront, everybody and their mama was down there. Everybody was ready because we wanted to, quote unquote, see a change. We wanted to see that happen. And I feel that, okay, well, because we don't have another brother or we're not seeing us, basically lead, we kind of fall back. or we try to pick and choose. Oh, well, the white guy over here, he's kind of for the blacks. If he's, jamming with a celebrity or whatever, that's basically us inviting him to the cookout. But I feel that that's something that we have to get better with, because at the end of the day, it's not always about putting us in office all the time, which we're grateful that we have Barack Obama, but we have to start thinking beyond, skin tone. We have to look at who's really going to have our best interests at heart.
That is the problem in today's world. That's something that we need. We need to stop putting skin tone on everything, without a doubt, 110%. It's like, because I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm not voting because of the two people because of the two running mates. The last 4 years they were like between Hillary and Trump. Oh, well, I'm not voting. They're both horrible. Yada yada yada." But then as soon as Trump came in the office, they wouldn't shut the fuck up. But
So, do you think Joe Biden is a strong candidate to go against Trump? How do we feel about that?
I'm mixy with it, because I'm just gonna go with the next question. I feel like he is, but then again, he isn't. I don't know much political background about him besides of him being Barack Obama's vice president. And it seems like, well, if he had the same views as Obama, you would think that he had, our best interest at heart.
Well, I was just gonna say, well, I really don't have too much to say on it. Like I said, political is not my best. Everything else is probably the best format, but political is not my best format. But I will say, from just the outside of looking in, I speak for those people who kind of know, kind of don't know. From doing my research on Joe versus Trump, I do feel like, yeah, he's a strong candidate, but at the same time, there are very pieces that he has to play with this, right? And I know how we have to look at this just like we looked at Hillary and Trump. Yes, these people may seem like, okay, we all know who we don't like. But you have to realize there is a community out there that this man still has. There is still a community out there that are still voting, that are still aware, and that are still woke, and that he has tapped into. So we have to keep in mind that, yeah, we don't like him, but he played his tactics very well, to the point where there is a side of people that we have to be worried about when it comes to these elections now, because it could be him. And I hate to say it, but it's true. There is a side that could overrule that. So I feel like Biden has to really play that card slot right, and literally have the people on that come on with him literally on that same page. Like, there's no time for mess up. Make sure you got everything right. Make sure you impact the people that Trump impact, and be able to get that same reaction towards you and pull them from that, as well as get more people to vote.
Well, I think Trump pulled a lot of racism in here. This is no offense. Because if you realize, like, even some of my classmates, which I'm very surprised about, I think a lot of racist people voted for Trump, because a lot of the things that he was saying at his rallies and things like that, and you can go back on YouTube and you can look them up. Go ahead, beat them in the head, grab a woman by their, private area. It's just certain things you shouldn't say as a president, but unfortunately, we got that.
And see, I was going to say, with that statement, I literally go, I talk to my base sometimes about this when we do get into political topics, and I have to say, there are people out there, and I feel like us as human beings have to realize, just because they vote for someone or believe in that somewhat format does not entirely make them that character. Yes, his beliefs and yes, his actions are, okay, he said something racist. He says that, okay, well, you voted for him, so that makes you racist. No. You have to realize what this person who voted for, what is the real reason. See, some people are just unaware. Some people are blinded by what they sound like. It's almost like a sales pitch. Oh, this sounds good, so I'm going to invest into it, not realizing what you're purchasing. Those people you have to put that into for. So you can honestly, I just feel like we should not judge those people so quickly. We need to understand, like, okay, we really need to figure out where your headspace is, because it's not in the right headspace. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all went out towards these people and you're voting for him. What did he do to reach you exactly? What is it that this person has grasped your attention, and the reason why you come onto this level? Help me figure that out so I can understand where your process is. That's why I feel like we need to put those people at, not bending them down and saying, oh, you're this, you're that, you're that. Figure out where they're coming from so we can really put them in the right spot.
I will
I
say
agree
I
with you
do
on that.
agree with that. And I think that most people probably have voted for Trump because they believe that he is quote unquote the American dream. You know, successful businessman, multimillionaire, white picket fence before the Oval Office. And a lot of people would always look at that as the American dream for someone to make $1 million and things like that. Now, do I believe Trump is a racist? I will say that yes, I do. But at the same time, I do believe that the people that voted for him are not all necessarily racist because, especially with my place of employment, I see a lot of people walking around with the Trump hats. Do I immediately feel, I'm, an outcast, or do I feel like I'm among a bunch of racist people? Absolutely not. Because the same people that are wearing these janky ass hats, excuse my language, are some of the nicest people in the world. And, and this is what they believe, this is who they wanted. But I believe that there are some racist people that are still out there in the world, and we all know this is it's happening every day and it's still continuing to happen. But a lot of that is taught, and
Exactly.
again, it goes back to skin tone. It really does because a lot of the retired KKK members that are still out there, and some of the ones that still uphold it to a very high standard, look at, okay, we have a white person that is in the Oval Office, so therefore white supremacy, white power all the way, when it's not like that. So I think that's where a lot of Trump supporters, because you actually have some that are just legit racist, and then some that are just they don't care for it, but they like Trump, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah, no.
think really what it boils down to when I look at voting as a whole, we need to be able to start small, and I say that as in our hometowns, because we have to look at, okay, yes, while we're trying to fight for who's going to get the Oval Office, we want to look at who we're voting for in the local primaries, for our who's going to be mayor, who's going to be chief of police, who's going to be the fire chief. All of these people, I think that a lot of people don't like to look at your hometown advantage, because the same people
Right.
that are beating these kids in Atlanta or Texas, wherever, I mean, look at the background of all these people that are sliding right in, and we don't care about that. So I think for us as a community, for the Black community, I think we just really need to go back to the basics of, okay, let's come together and educate ourselves. Not let's come together when there's a riot, when there's a fight, when someone has died and hanging from a tree. While that's all powerful and we do need to come together for those moments, but when that's not happening, where are we? We're
And well, not trying to take his I do agree with that statement, but I won't say too much of taking Trump's side, but I will say this. We do have a lot of racists when it comes to Trump's side. But I will say this. Before this man came into presidential area, I do feel like Trump has that one side of racism, but at the same time, he's very luxury minded. Meaning, if you are not on the same tax bracket as him or making that much money, you are not a factor. Because we have to realize that Trump did have a lot of black people and Mexicans, all these other different races of people that were on his side before he was even president, that were very cool with this man, that very looked to him very friendly and all this type of stuff, going to the hotels and everything. And they were wealthy people. They weren't, just your modern day by day class people. They were wealthy people, very high number of people. So I feel like if you have that money and tax break, then you're on Trump. Trump feels like you're on his level to speak. But I feel like anybody underneath that, he doesn't really care for. So the racism, I do get that, but I feel like that's the kind of character that man is when it comes to that perspective. But I do agree with what Anthony said about that. Like, that's where we need to come from when it comes to voting in area.
Now, I
Okay.
want to jump in real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off, Chester, but when you were saying that everyone that is, looked at as wealthy or whatever that Trump feels is on his wavelength, I think the one thing you were missing from that was be on his tax bracket and be on somewhat of the same level, but know when to keep your mouth shut. Because let's look at Kanye West, for example. I mean, like, for someone that has been an icon in pop culture and to, the rap industry, you are wrapped, dude, like around Trump. Like, and
Well,
you
see, we can't even use him though. The man
But
has mental issues.
I mean,
Give me
okay,
somebody
but
who don't have that.
well, beyond that, and even before it got worse, and honestly, it probably a lot of that has to do with we're not even going to do that because we're not going to try to attack a certain family, so we're not going to do that. This is still the beginning of Clutch and Chill. However, but at the same time, I just feel that Trump is not going to have somebody powerful like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, some black successful people underneath his camp. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
And
One, they're
that
wealthy.
that would be the campaign to see.
Get up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up.